Welcome to the Truer Business Podcast with Kara Ferreira
and Lauren Van Mullum. This season, we're looking at how online entrepreneurs built businesses around what they wanted for their lives.
We're talking to people who broke out of the follow my formula mindset to find what worked for them so that you can find the way that works for you.
What do you really want?
Yeah, so we kind of disappeared for a little bit because lives and business, but we did want to wrap up our first season of the podcast.
Yeah, it's been an interesting one, and I love how the theme emerged of burnout because I've found myself sliding into burnout territory again in the last few months.
I'm glad that we decided to hit record because I discovered that I actually am burnt out, but because I've figured out how to set up my business in a way where I'm I can't be burnt out because I ride my horse in the middle of the day. But I started realizing more of a nervous system burnout. And I was a person who is actually regulated, doesn't wake up and feel like she has to jump into work at 7 a.m. Maybe there are a few people like that, but feeling like you have to, it's the burnout or the resistance or the why is it that the only thing I have energy for at night is to sit and watch 3 episodes of a Netflix show and I can't possibly do anything else? It's burnout. That's the reason. That's the answer.
Yes. And the interesting thing is some of it is work, but so much of it is the mental load of everything else that is going on right now. And my energy capacity is very low. So I've had to be extra intentional about how I'm spending my time because it's the backup energy isn't there right now. So yeah, burnout is real. And even if you've got your business set up and you love it so much and it gives you energy, stuff happens.
No, you have to plan for, I think, the different seasons. And I think it's easy to get really excited. We were excited, we're doing the podcast on top of our regular businesses and all the things going on in our personal lives and the world around us, doing what it's doing right now. But you get excited about some things and you kind of charge ahead and then you take that moment of oh, okay, now that was that little part of the cycle, but now I need to take the time to recharge. Otherwise, burnout happens. So
yeah. So what have you found that is keeping you going, that is keeping you afloat when the burnout is kind of ramping up?
Well, for me this time, it was really interesting because we've been talking about, I have the schedule set up and this is part of why I started my own business is to avoid the burnout. And we're talking with people, all of our guests about the different symptoms and different things. And a lot of them, I don't have those specific symptoms and I'm already doing a lot of those practices. But what I realized for me is it's really the feeling of absolutely having to do something, even when you're not necessarily feeling aligned to that task at the moment. If you're taken out because the ultra-right Republicans are trying to pass an act where you might not be able to vote because your married name doesn't match your birth certificate, and that kind of bums you out that that's an option these days, take a morning, having, it's sort of those things being all things being equal, you don't absolutely have to push through and do the work necessarily when you don't feel like it. And if you can't, there are the tricks that I know, having the candles or my essential oil diffuser or my nice little jazz going in the background. Those things sometimes help me feel at peace enough to do the work. But when those tricks aren't working and I've gone for the walk and I come back and I still can't do it, just respecting that. And I know there's a very real, and I come up against it too sometimes, oh, but I need the money. I need that client money this week. So I've got to do the work. But I've actually found if I take the step back and take care of myself, I find the energy later on to do what I need to do. And yeah, so far some things have gotten tight if I'm not really hustling, and I hate hustling, but I found that I was hustling. So sometimes some things get a bit tighter, but I find that it's actually working out. It's okay.
Oh my gosh, this is fascinating because I also thought that I had cracked the code and would never see burnout again. And then the past couple of months, it's been what is even happening? And for the same reasons and some of the same workarounds. Burnout is a thing and the mental load and the stress that is constant is a thing. So one of the sort of quick fixes I found is to just go outside. It is spring weather right now. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. so I can go outside, and listening to the bird song is very nervous system regulating for me. And I can get a little bit of a second wind that way. And then for me, and I don't know if this is like an undiagnosed ADHD thing, but I can focus and I can get my energy up on client calls. If I have to sit down and do the work by myself, not getting done. My energy just crashes. But if it's a call, there's something about that two people energy that gets me upright, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed again.
Okay. So yeah, it's finding the things that I guess actually do motivate you or feed your energy right now. And I think that probably also changes for people over time. So re-identifying what is actually draining me now, what is actually helping to fuel me at this time.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing, like really leaning into, how does this make me feel? Am I exhausted by this or am I fueled by this? So I just, I quit my Dungeons and Dragons group.
Was it exhausting you?
It was late at night, and I really need early bedtimes right now because I've been so tired. And it was just taking it out of me, even though the people are fantastic and I love playing a chaotic neutral rogue character. Like, you could just go off and do anything that she wants. It's very fun, but it was also draining, where going to Pilates, doing, various exercise, going to martial arts, those things make me feel like the world is somehow graspable. Like, the world is a better place when I do those things. So those stay. And the thing that was fun but draining, it had to go.
Yeah. I think that's where it's kind of the constant review. Like, in this past cycle, what's working for me, what isn't. I do love, we were going to have her on the podcast as one of our final episodes, but unfortunately she had some personal stuff and couldn't join us, but we'll hopefully for a future season. But there is a coach, Haley Carr in Australia, and she has this worksheet, which I think you can actually, I think her website's haleycarr.tv. We can link it below. But she has a self-coaching spreadsheet, which I've adapted, which I love because it basically has a lot of the questions are like, what was draining to me in this past week? What gave me energy? All these things. What's my big goal right now? What's one small step I can take towards it? What would I be proud of myself at the end of the week? These are all questions. There's a bunch of them. And I actually adapted a few of them to things that over time I found helped me get more clarity over time. But what I love about it, though, is like those questions, like what drained me over the past week? And if I write like 3 times in a row, like what drained me was like, I don't know, taking my daughter to swim lessons. Sometimes that's a thing that it's like, okay, so like, how do I get this off of my plate? Like and in this particular one, it was just, I really love slow, lazy mornings. Because I have a daughter, I usually can't have a slow, lazy morning because I have to get her to school. Like up until like all through preschool, like we rolled in at like 10:30 a.m. I was like, I don't care. You guys started at 8. Like, we're getting to school at 10:30. And they kind of just like accepted that she was there since she was 6 months old. They're like, Kara's never going to be here on time. It's fine. But now she's actually in school. And so like she kind of has to be there for like 8:15, which is like big jolt to the system. So then her swim lesson was then at 9:30 a.m. on Saturday. And I was like, I need that Saturday and Sunday. I don't have to do anything till 11 a.m. Like I need that in my life. And so we ended up I still have to get up and like get her dressed, but another parent does a carpool situation. So we were able to fix that for me. But it's one of those things where it's like, if you really don't ask yourself, like, what's draining me every week? You can't identify. And like, yes, it's not killing me to take her to swim lessons every Saturday. But if you have like 4 things that you're like, these things are draining me constantly, like every week, it builds.
It does. Yes. The other thing that I've been doing that is helpful, but I hate it, is giving myself way more space in my schedule, because I'm like burnout, also mental load and all the things. Oh my gosh, overwhelm. I've been crashing 1 or 2 days a week, which like one of those days is on a weekend. Fine. Okay. I can sacrifice a Saturday and just have a meltdown. But the other day tends to be Wednesday. And I'm like, oh no, my productivity is like going through the floor. And today I know I've got something that's a little stressful scheduled. And I gave myself the entire afternoon to collapse if I need to. And I probably will.
Yeah. I also struggle with that, like building in gaps and then feeling like, oh, like I can get all of this done. Like just because you maybe can get everything done in a certain amount of time doesn't mean that you should.
That's so true.
Yeah, but like building in the gaps, because then you like, I think it was, sorry, I'm so bad with names. The really wonderful Australian burnout coach.
Yes, Stephanie.
Yes. One of the things that we were like, when she was like, when you're like in that overwhelm moment and you're like, I don't know what to do next because there's just too much to do. And she was like, just go for a walk. And we're like, oh, like that makes like on the surface, like, well, that doesn't make sense because you're not knocking things off your to-do list. But both of us, I think, energetically felt like, oh, like that would be so much better to like take that time, step away, come back fresh. And I think it's sort of the same philosophy when you're looking at actually making reasonable time in your schedule for things and adding in gaps. Because like on the surface, you feel like you're not as productive, but because then you're not crashing for all of Wednesday, you actually are more productive.
Yeah. Okay, I think this is the last hack that I found, and it is saving my bacon every week. So I brought on a VA who's really good. And okay, now I have two VAs and it feels ridiculous, but they're both doing like small things. Right. So it's like kind of equal to one more full-time VA, which for my business right now, considering my client load is very light, my income is terrifyingly low at the moment. It's a bad choice from the financial angle, but from getting things done and laying foundations for future better months, it's been amazing. So I get on a call with VA number 2 every Monday, first thing in the morning. And whatever has gotten stuck because I can't figure out the tech, because I can't figure out how to hook up the many chats to the Instagram, to the Planoly, to the, oh my gosh, and don't get me started with Dubsado. But the tech seems to be where I get really hung up, and we will go through and do the most horrible things together. It's kind of like Mark Twain's Eat the Frog idea. Like you do the most unpleasant thing first thing in the morning and then you get it out of the way. And I'm doing this once a week on a Monday morning, first thing, and we just get it out of the way. And that Monday is so productive that I feel a little less bad if I have to crash on a Wednesday.
Yeah, that's a good one. I still need to get more support for myself. I still have the resistance. I've dabbled with VAs in the past, but I just have to like bite the bullet and find a good one because there's definitely a lot of stuff that I don't need to be doing myself. Just because you can doesn't mean that you should.
I think that might be the theme for this episode.
Yeah. It is true, though. It's a lot of, yeah, it really is. It's a lot of it. Well, we started off before we started recording, though. And I don't know if this falls in that category because I am going to do it, even if I shouldn't. But I am redesigning my website again. And part of the problem is it's because I can.
What prompted it? Like, what were you seeing that was not there that needed to be there?
Part of the problem is I redesigned my website. I want to say I completed it over last summer. So like late in the summer. So it was like 6-7 months ago. I just finished this redesign, maybe. But part of the problem was I think even though I obviously design websites all the time, and a lot of the times I do work with my clients on like the branding and some of like the messaging, like the brand positioning behind the website. And I'm very good at doing it for other people. I think I made the mistake of trying to kind of push for something that wasn't quite me in terms of the branding. Like I went with these big blocky letters, tried to go a bit like funkier / edgier. And I'm maybe not that edgy of a person.
Okay, that's so interesting because a similar thing happened to me when I was teaching my mastermind. And every time I teach a new page, I look at the page that I have and I reevaluate it. And half the time I end up rewriting it. So this time it was the first time I was teaching that incarnation of the Truer Copy Mastermind, which is now like a series of workshops. But I looked at my homepage and I realized it needed a total revamp. And I struggled so hard because what I tried to do is what I do for everybody else. I followed my own workbook. I did all of the best practices, and it came out sounding so not like me at all because there is something fundamental to my character where I can't follow instructions. Like, it will not work.
Like, I made the instructions, but I can't follow
Exactly. The instructions that I myself made that work really well for other people. And then I sent it to one of my very favorite all-time clients who doesn't pull any punches. She's very, very honest. And she's like, this is terrible. It doesn't sound like you at all. And I scrapped the whole thing and I wrote more intuitively. And then it worked.
Yeah. What I did is I actually didn't even follow my own directions, because what I usually tell people, it's like, you don't need the perfect colors and the perfect fonts. Like, you just need, well, you kind of do in a way, but not perfect in terms of like, I'm looking at things outside of myself that I'm going to try to have represent me. Like, actually go for the things that you're naturally gravitating towards in your day to day. Like, for me, well, the color palette was in line with how I present. Like, I'm not like, there are these big star asterisks. Like, it's kind of like, it has this edgy vibe. Like, I do wear black. Like, there's a black and heavily incorporated in the website, but like, I don't wear black in an edgy way. Like, it was that the vibe was wrong. Like, you need to actually like capture your own vibe instead of try to embody another vibe if you're a coach or a service provider, because like, your brand needs to feel like you. And I tell this to people all the time, but what I ended up with was creating a website for myself that does not feel like me. And I've noticed I've been less willing to put it out there, which is a little bit hard to do when you're like, oh, I'm like a website designer trying to capture new clients. And I'm like, I don't really want to share my own website. So I started noticing that sort of stuff. And I was like, I want to redo it. I also think my messaging, as I sort of do website design, but also some like business coaching in terms of the marketing and all of that strategy, I needed a better way of housing all of the things that I'm doing that I missed the mark on my last website. So I am redoing it, which is interesting because I really enjoy doing it. And I'm finding that I'll spend 2 hours a day doing that when I should be doing other things. But I'm letting myself do it because I guess it's work that's energizing me. And I will say, because I am too close to it, the messaging, like, I can write pretty good copy, but I'm too close to it. So I don't know sometimes if I'm really encapsulating things well. So I will be using you, Lauren, for we'll talk about whether that's the Loom reviews are the best option for me or whatever, because it will be all out there, but I'm going to need your input and tough love when I'm straying from the mark too much.
I can't wait. I can't wait. So one of the things that's been keeping me up at night, speaking of like revisiting copy on our websites, making sure everything is clear. So I've been feeling a shift, and I'm wondering if this is true for you in your industry or if you're not affected by it. But AI, like, there's been a huge shift in the comfort level of people like using it, playing with it, practicing with it, using it for their businesses, using it to write drafts. And I'm seeing it on the draft side when people are like, hey, can you check out this draft? And I'm seeing like those little emojis, those little weird spaces. And I'm like, I know who wrote this, and it was not you.
Yeah.
So I think that might account for a lot of the drop in clients because they're leaning on AI to do it for them. And what I'm noticing is one woman sent me it was a perfectly fine sales page. I'm like, this is a great sales page. Why are we talking? And she's like, well, I'm not sure if it's going to work for my business. And then she tells me about her business, and her entire niche, her entire offers are completely different from the sale. Like, there was no connection. And it's like, you handed me an AI sales page for a business you don't actually have.
You don't actually have. Jeez.
So I'm seeing these holes that are not immediately apparent to people. And I'm figuring out, how do I dance with AI? Because it's not going to go away. There's nothing I can say to warn people away from it or off of it. And even all of the environmental concerns are not compelling enough to outweigh the convenience factor. So how do I dance with this new partner and move with it instead of trying to smash it, resist it, pretend it's not there?
Yeah. Well, I'm glad people are using you. If they do like AI generated drafts, they're using you to maybe alter them, because I do find I will use AI, but I found for myself, I have to create really good copy first for it to AI to like do a little bit with it that then I feel comfortable putting it on my website. If I just am like, write this section, like, actually saw another copywriter refer to it as an AI word salad.
Oh,
She was
that's
like,
good.
I can spot an AI word salad a mile away. I was like, because it has that feeling. That said, I will use it for my Instagram captions because I hate writing Instagram captions. And that's one where I care a little bit less about them. So I don't mind. But like for my actual business, I feel like, and also for clients that I do some blog posts for, I find I at least go through and make sure that it's not AIE at all. Like even if I use it for like an outline, because I feel like at some point the entire internet's going to be too saturated with AI generated content that the search algorithms are going to prioritize other things. Like I feel like that shift's going to come.
Oh yeah, I think it's going to come. It's going to come fast because that has been historically what the Google algorithm has done.
Right.
It keeps prioritizing humans. It keeps prioritizing quality information that's actually helpful.
Yeah, the last big Google change with the summaries, like it really did, whereas the AI summary, like I feel like it tries to pull from a lot of not just big websites. I think that actually helped a lot of like real people putting content out their businesses. And I think if that trend continues and they continue to prioritize real people generated content, that all the AI stuff's going to end up, if all you have is AI generated stuff and you're not like taking time to make sure that it's infused with your you-ness and humanness, then it's not going to rank as highly on Google. So it'll just be as self-defeating, especially for website copy. Like,
yeah, I think so. I hope that that is the direction it goes. But I think the broader, interesting question that's been floating up for me, and I see you doing it too. Your Instagram game, by the way, has been outstanding. Like this whole year.
I started out strong. I was doing a bunch of posts. Now it's still strong, but it's like I'm like I can maybe do 2 posts a week, which isn't enough for what I'm trying to do, but it's what it is.
They're really high quality though. Like I'm getting a lot out of them. I'm sharing them. But so my business is like putting some pressure on to pivot because the things that have been working are not working. And I know that you also constantly are experimenting, constantly tinkering, constantly rebalancing your business. So I'm wondering, like, what things are you finding that you're moving or repositioning or reprioritizing right now?
Yeah, I mean, the website design itself still doesn't suffer from any of the AI stuff because there probably is some AI that can build a website at this point, but it's probably too expensive for people to really use it. Squarespace does attempt to customize their templates based on your input with AI, but unfortunately, for people who want that option, their templates just aren't. There are great Squarespace templates, but not made by Squarespace. The ones that you can just get for free when you sign up for Squarespace are kind of terrible, and the AI customized version of it is just as terrible. So that doesn't exist. So like the website stuff is still there, though with the economy kind of being in the precarious position it's in, there are less people willing to invest in the higher end packages, the total done for you type stuff.
I'm finding that too.
Yeah. So I'm leaning a lot into like things like a hybrid package where I work with you on the brand positioning and the overall look, tone, feel of your website. I create maybe 2 pages for you. And then I have this tutorial that shows you how to take those 2 pages and duplicate sections and duplicate entire pages to then make whatever the other 3 pages you need from the content I've created for you, which is then a less pricier option, but still gets you a pretty custom website. So those sorts of creative hybrid solutions that are like done with you, not totally done for you, not totally DIY, are things that I'm prioritizing, as well as just some strategy. Because I think obviously people have continued to move on to the online space. There's a lot of people going out there and think they're going to launch their coaching business. Or, you know, maybe they have an in-person therapy business, but they want to bring in more clients from online, but just continue. What we've tried to do here really is like offer like real, not like influencer advice on how to take off on or get a foothold online. Because if you try put all your eggs in some, you know, Instagram formula, it's unlikely it's going to work out for you.
Yeah. So the first thing I tried this year, which has not worked, but the theory I thought was sound. It's like, okay, you know, we're in a time of great uncertainty, especially financial uncertainty. People are not going to invest in their businesses in the same way that they have in years past because we don't know what the world is going to do a week from now, right? So I'm feeling that too. I'm investing in things, except for my VAs, less, really prioritizing where I'm spending. And if there's a cheaper way to do something, I'll probably try to do it that way. So I thought, oh, I'll take my big expensive mastermind program that's so labor intensive and time intensive. I'm going to break that up into 4 workshops that people can just do a la carte if they need to do something less expensive.
Are they live workshops or recorded?
Yeah, they're live, and then I'm recording them and going to sell them as recordings. So they're both, but if you get on there live, it's a whole different energy from the recording. I just personally, I need a live class to be able to hold myself accountable. So I thought the price point is $60, right, for a single workshop. So if you buy all of them, if you buy all of the workbooks, if you add on Loom reviews for every page that you write, you can do your entire website for cheaper than my full program was. And it's basically the same thing. So I was really proud of myself for that innovation. And the first workshop got 4 people.
At least there are people in it. I don't know. It's tough though. It's also the volume game too, right? Because I know you have an engaged email list, but a lot of them are probably longtime subscribers who have done some version of the workshop or the workbooks, right? So
yes, filling the top of the funnel with new people, that is really where I'm trying to focus.
That's why all of us online entrepreneurs are burnt out, even though we started our businesses not to be burnout. It's the top of the funnel.
Yes,
yeah.
It's the top of the funnel. It's getting more visibility, more people in your list. So yeah, I'm really trying to concentrate on that this year, but apparently I did not do a sufficient job yet. So the next thing I'm going to try is, and I haven't fully formed it yet, it's in the works. It's going to happen this year, hopefully before August. But it's incorporating AI support because I see a need to help people form their ideas and have that sort of back and forth bouncing ideas off of somebody with experience in terms of what makes you different, what makes you unique, what is your value proposition that other people don't have, what is your lived experience that we can bring in and make you stand out from everybody else, what are the offers that you want and that energize you and that can get some market fit. It's kind of bringing in a little bit of business coaching to the copy coaching, but it's like the pre-work ideation you have to do to be able to feed AI the information it needs to give you a result that doesn't suck.
I think that'll be great. And then also on the back end of that, you could also do then when you get your AI now better formulated word salad, how do you take that and then make sure that you're infusing it with your unique essence too?
Yes, it's got to be the front end and the back end, and then AI can actually do the heavy lifting in the middle, but you've got to know what you're doing.
That's a winning formula. Well, that's I do blog posts for this therapy practice out in Michigan, and I do rely on AI to really help generate sometimes the outline, sometimes they'll actually do the entire post, but then I go through and I do a lot of reworking of it. And I'm I can successfully use this AI tool because I've been writing essays the human way since at least 2002, maybe earlier. But then I started getting on my daughter's generation. She's 6. If they grow up with AI and they never learn how to write an essay, how are they going to be able to AI-ify things? But and that's sort of in the online business space, if you don't already have some knowledge of how to niche and really drill down on your unique value proposition and all those things you were mentioning, you actually can't work with AI in a way that's going to produce good results because you don't have that balancing knowledge. So I think that could be a very exciting offer.
I do worry about the implications of AI on school age kids. I don't know how they're going to be able to form their own thoughts with something so accessible.
Yeah. No, it's really, I try to think about it too much sometimes because then I'm well, what's the answer? But my dad as an emergency room physician, he's I don't know what these doctors are going to do if they think they're going to ask ChatGPT what to do. The person's bleeding out. What do I do? There are some things you have to be able to actually run those thought processes and go through the mental checklist and have it in your actual brain without having to Unless maybe just AI robots are going to be doing it in the future. I don't know.
So I want to offer a question, some food for thought for our listeners.
We go from burnout to the AI apocalypse.
Well,
let's get to it.
Because it's all connected, because there are always going to be forces that are outside of our control, and they're in society, they're in our lives, they're in the stuff that happens, they're in technology. As entrepreneurs, we are always dancing with a different partner. It just hit me that this is the perfect metaphor for this, because when you're dancing with a partner, I have done ballroom dancing and swing dancing and tango. Oh my gosh, Argentine tango? Oh. But you have to respond to the forces that are working on you. And you've got to, give some tension so you can push back and you're not just, this soft blob of malleable clay. Like, it's a two-sided thing to make it work. But when it does work, you find that there is support in connecting to this force. And I think when we're figuring out what is going to work right now for our businesses, what's going to work right now for what people need, you might find that your dance partner is different. Like, the forces are different. Maybe your niche has changed. Maybe their needs have changed. Maybe they're also reacting to the forces, and that's having a ripple effect on you. And then figuring out how to respond with those pressures is the trick.
Yeah.
And I think giving ourselves space, giving ourselves some love when the burnout hits, because we've been hustling so hard trying to resist this force. Like, that's what I've been doing. I've been hustling harder than I have since my 20s, and it hasn't been working. I think that might be the way, is just to figure out what this dance partner is and how to do this dance.
Yeah, I like that. And I think that you're doing that and creating this new offer as well. Because I think it does take some flexibility and some creativity, especially when something comes on this. And as you mentioned, online space, we're doing this all the time. And it could be like, the new marketing thing is this, and the algorithm's doing this now. It's like we're always having to react to these different things that are coming on the scene. So I think giving ourselves sort of the grace and, as you mentioned, the space to do that in a way that's generative and isn't totally resistant and isn't totally also jumping on the bandwagon, I don't think is a healthy option either.
Yes.
So I guess we've come up with burnout is real. We've learned that this entire season. It's common thread between almost all of our interviewed guests this season. And then after being educated on it through the podcast for like 7 episodes, we're both like, oh crap, we're burnt out too. And yeah, and just like the flexibility and grace to keep on rolling with all the things are key parts of the entrepreneurial journey.
But you know what? Even burnt out, this podcast gives me energy. It's not going to go the way of D&D.
There we go. So yeah, so we'll we have the website that's linked below. We'll post on there and on our individual Instagrams when we know when the next season of this will be released, but it won't probably be until probably the next calendar year. I hope you guys enjoyed coming along for this ride with us, and see you next time.